Welcome back to Animal World. We hope you are doing great and waiting eagerly for our videos. In today's video, we will be looking at eels. If you are an animal lover, chances are high that you have already heard of the eel, particularly the electric eel. In today's video, we will be looking at eel as a fish, and we will also see if all eels produce electricity. There are about 800 species of eels that belong to 8 suborders, 19 families, and 111 genera. When we look at size and weight, eels vary in size depending on the species, ranging in length from just 2 inches in the one-jawed eel, Monognathus alstromi, to 13 feet in the slender giant moray, Strophyton saithete. They also range in weight from just 1 ounce to over 55 pounds. The heaviest species is the European conger, which was reported weighing 240 pounds at a length of 10 feet. Appearance. Eels are characterized by their elongated, worm-like bodies. Unlike most fish, eels do not have pelvic fins, and most species do not have pectoral fins. Eels have a continuous dorsal, anal, and caudal fin that runs around the tail tip. To swim, eels generate waves that travel the length of their bodies. To swim backwards, they reverse the direction of the wave. The body covering of an eel is typically scaleless. Their color ranges from drab gray or black in deep-sea species to colorful and patterned in tropical reef species. Diet. Eels are primarily predatory fish with carnivorous diets. Some eel species are cannibalistic. Their diet typically consists of smaller fish, invertebrates, crustaceans, shrimp, crabs, and sea urchins. Freshwater eels also consume insect larvae. Habitat. Eels can be found in both freshwater and saltwater, with the majority of species found at sea. While many eels can be found in the shallow waters of the ocean and burrow into sand, mud, or amongst rocks, other species live in deeper water on the continental shelves. Unlike most fish, most eels are catadromous, meaning they spend most of their adult lives in freshwater rivers and streams, and return to the oceans where they were first born to spawn. Geography. Eels can be found in oceans across the globe, and many species can be found in freshwater habitats as well. Some species range into the frigid waters at the poles. Each species has its own unique distribution and range. While some species range across vast areas, others occupy a small region. Breeding. Much remains unknown about eel reproduction and mating. An eel begins its life as larvae, known as leptocephali. These larvae drift along the surface waters of the sea, feeding on small particles that float in the water. They then metamorphose into glass eels, and then become elvers before finally seeking out their juvenile and adult habitats. Many eels remain in the sea throughout their lives, but freshwater eels travel upstream to rivers and freshwater habitats. Typically, when a freshwater eel reaches sexual maturity, it returns to the ocean to spawn and die. Social structure. Most eel species are nocturnal. They typically feed at night and hide under rocks, logs, and mud of the water's bottom during the daytime. While most eels are solitary during their juvenile and adult life, some eel species, such as garden eels, live together in vast colonies of several hundred individuals in tropical reef areas. Lifespan. The lifespan of an eel varies depending on the species. American eels typically live for at least 5 years, with some reaching 15 to 20 years old. Meanwhile, captive European eels have been reported to live over 80 years, but the species' lifespan in the wild has not been determined. Typically, when an eel reaches sexual maturity, it returns to the ocean to spawn and die. Threats. Eels face a number of threats, including pollution, environmental changes, and overfishing. Dams and other mechanisms threaten eel habitat and migration corridors. Conservation status. The conservation status varies depending on the species. Several species used for commercial purposes are threatened. For example, the European eel, Anguilla anguilla, is listed as critically endangered due to overfishing, parasites, and other human activities like dam creation. The American eel, Anguilla rostrata, is listed as endangered. While they were once abundant in rivers, the construction of hydroelectric dams has blocked their migrations and locally extirpated eels in many watersheds. Conservation efforts. Conservation groups are working to protect several threatened eel species. For example, the Zoological Society of London, ZSL, is working to protect the European eel. Their efforts include research, river improvements, public engagement, and advising policy. In 2010, Greenpeace International added the European eel, the Japanese eel, and the American eel to its seafood red list. Greenpeace urges commercial fisheries to stop selling species on its red list as part of its sustainable seafood campaign. Japan consumes more than 70% of the global eel catch. Now let us look at the electric eel, an animal that is as unique as it is fascinating. Should you be worried about getting shocked by an electric eel the next time you wade in a creek or go for a swim in a lake or river? Unless you live in South America, the answer is no. But electric eels are real. Known by the scientific name, Electrophorus electricus, the electric eel is an electric fish able to generate powerful electric shocks. Electric eels use their shocking abilities for hunting and self-defense. In fact, electric eels are not actually eels at all. They're a specific kind of knife fish that lives mainly in bodies of fresh water in South America, such as the Amazon River. Electric eels are more closely related to catfish than true eels. True eels cannot produce electric shocks like electric eels can. Electric eels have long bodies, up to 6 feet long, shaped like a cylinder. Since they look a lot like true eels, they've been called electric eels since they were discovered. Electric eels can weigh up to 45 pounds. Unlike many fish, electric eels breathe air. They regularly rise to the surface every 10 minutes or so to take a breath before heading back underwater. Electric eels have 3 sets of internal organs that produce electricity. The organs are made up of special cells called electrocytes. Electric eels can create both low and high voltage charges with their electrocytes. Electric eels generate their electric shocks much like a battery. Like the stacked plates of a battery, the stacked electric cells can generate an electrical shock of 500 volts and 1 ampere. Such a shock would be deadly for an adult human. Electric eels can vary the intensity of their shocks, using lower voltages for hunting and higher voltages for self-defense. Most of the time, electric eels produce lower voltage shocks, just strong enough to stun prey or deter a threatening animal. When threatened, electric eels can produce intermittent electric shocks for at least an hour, without showing any signs of getting tired. Electric eels are usually only safe to be around when they're in a zoo or an aquarium. Some people have been able to keep them as pets, but they're very difficult and dangerous to try to catch in the wild. Electric eels need at least a 200-gallon tank and usually must be kept by themselves since they will attack other fish. At Animal World, we firmly advocate conservation. Nature conservation is the moral philosophy and conservation movement focused on protecting species from extinction, maintaining and restoring habitats, enhancing ecosystem services, and protecting biological diversity. The Earth is the only home we have, and it is our responsibility to protect it. We hope you liked today's video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up, leave a comment with your thoughts, share it with your friends and relatives, and if you have not subscribed to Animal Channel yet, now is the best time to do it. Don't forget to hit that bell icon to keep getting notified of our latest videos. So long, and we will see you in our next video.